How's it going, everybody? Jody in here, and we're back inside Stormworks again. I know. I have other series I need to finish. I know. I know. I could have been putting hours into them. I know. I just needed a break. I needed a break. I needed to get my head wrapped around some. I needed to build. I needed to be constructive. So that's what you got. You got, I don't know what now, 5 hours or not 5 hours, 5 episodes, 6 episodes. I don't know what I'm at. What am I at? 6 episodes. I think this will be the 6th episode that I've done recently. And each of these episodes is like the last episode was 6 hours. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind if you guys want to watch 6 hours of me playing Stormworks. I honestly don't mind. Have a blast. I, I think you're crazy, but not really. I think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy for uploading a 6-hour video. But anyway, here we are, back in Stormworks. Our last video, which we started out basically looking at my sea base, and then I had the brilliant idea of, well, shit, we need to create a lot of fresh water for the sea base. So what we did was we created a desalination plant. Actually, we started off by creating a steam boiler, which failed because you can't apparently put salt water into a steam boiler. Then we tried to basically go around the laws of physics and, boil off the salt water in a tower, not a tower, what the hell's it called? Oh crap. Diffusion? No. Diffusion? No. What the hell is it called? It looks like a cone. I can't remember from last episode. That was yesterday. It's a cone. It's good. There it is. Distillation. We tried to distill. I mean, distillation. Have they never heard of distilled water? I use distilled water in my sleeping machine, like my CPAP machine. I use distilled water in my CPAP machine. Why does the distillation port not work for water? I don't understand that. You should be able to distill water. Anyway. I'm gonna put that in as a bug report. You know what? I should put that in as a bug report. Or maybe a feature suggestion? You know what? Let's do that right now. I'm going to report. I'm going to report bug. I'm going to report bug, report feature. Sign in through Steam. And unfortunately, you can't watch me do this because my screen is linked to Stormworks. But okay, so let's go in here. So if I look at my issues, which I've actually created a few of them. I created a few of them. You know what? I have not gotten responses to like any of them. I don't even know if they're still looking. Are they still even looking at Stormworks? Because I put in some of these suggestions and I have no responses at all from them. None. Zero. I don't even know if they're using Geometa anymore for their bug reporting and stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, so let's put in. I'm gonna put in a Stormworks tracker. Okay, create issue. Create issue, and I'm gonna call this a bug report. I'm gonna actually call this a defect. Distillation. What's it called? The distillation. Fractal distillation port. Or fractional, I should say. Fractional. This Distilation port. Will not create water. Oh, fails on what? No, fractal distillation port. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna call it cannot create distilled water. Cannot distill water. Okay. So recently, I was attempting to find a faster method of creating fresh water from salt water. I first started out by attempting to pass the salt water through a boiler and then condense the steam back to fresh water. Little did I know, all my efforts would be wasted because the boiler doesn't input salt water. Doesn't allow you to pump in salt water. My next thought was distillation. I mean, I, I use a ton of distilled water. No, I use a ton of distilled water in real life for my CPAP machine. So I figured, why not distill water in Stormworks? I created a small distillation chamber with the fractional distillation port and found that the port wouldn't change boiling, beyond boiling, uh, 300 Celsius water, salt water, into fresh water. Okay. My next thought was distillation. I used a ton of distilled water in my real life for CPAP machine, so I figured, why not distill water in Stormworks? I created a small distillation chamber with the fractional distillation port and found that the port wouldn't change beyond boiling 300 Celsius salt water into fresh water. Instead, it was trying to separate non-existent oil from the boiling salt water. Okay. I can understand how that might be useful, but it's certainly not what I was going for. Okay. After numerous attempts, I couldn't find any way to actually boil off salt water into steam and then condensate the fresh water back into liquid. I realize we have access to what are they called? The filters. We have access to desalination filters. desalination filters. However, they are painfully slow. They are painfully slow unless you build large banks of them. I was searching for a mass. Or they are painfully slow unless or they are painfully slow and okay. I realize we have access to desalination filters, however, they are painfully slow and fairly useless when trying to create massive amounts of fresh water. It would be nice as a distillation port should be able to water. I'm adding this as a bug. However, it could also be considered a feature request should you decide to resolve the issue by simply cloning the fractional distillation port and to add a dedicated water distillation port. Distillation port should be able to distill water. I'm adding this as a bug. However, it could also be considered a feature request should you decide to resolve this issue easily by simply cloning the fractional distillation. Water distillation port. Okay. All right. Submitted. Okay. So I submitted that request, and hopefully something comes of it. Speaking of which, though, let's take a look at the issues that I have submitted. Okay, the distilled water. I was looking for an infinite radio range toggle, so you can toggle out infinite radio range. I was looking for conveyors because their current system of using ducts, these duct things, is just stupid, absolutely stupid. This is not a functional system. These ducts, and the fact that there's nothing to connect ducts together. So
say I want to pivot a duct, you can't. There's no way to pivot a duct. You have to like use a funnel that goes into a hop. You have to eject from a funnel into a hopper or into a vacuum duct, or yeah, you basically have to eject your materials into something else in order to create a hinged duct, which will work kind of like uh, a conveyor would. Uh, which at some point in time, I might actually see if I can get that to work. I might actually try to make like a crane for a self-unloading uh, boat or something like that, like a boom arm. But considering this here is the smallest duct you can have, that's gonna be a pretty fucking big boom arm. So what I suggested for them is to make something quite a bit smaller, like maybe a 2x2, maybe a duct that would be, come on, maybe a conveyor box that would be like more like that, like a 2x2, or even a 1 by, or even like a something like that. That would be a conveyor, a conveyor block. So I was trying to get them to do that. That was my suggestion there. Also, I wanted a setting so you can increase the time between disasters, because having a disaster go off every hour, which is the maximum setting, is just ridiculous. I'd rather a disaster every 3 hours or 4 hours of playtime. Uh, then I had a vacuum hopper. I had better ducts. There was the infinite fish duplication bug. There was the um, nuclear bottom feeder. I remember that one. That one was good. But I created a nuclear power plant, and I was going along in my sub, and I realized that if I took my sub and landed it on the surf, or on the sea floor, all of a sudden the reactor didn't work as well as it did. Um, the hull drag issue, I put that in. The glitched out pivots, I put that in. I submitted that. So there's a lot of issues that I've submitted, and I got, basically no feedback. I've never gotten feedback on any of them. I've gotten other players saying, "Hey, yeah, this would be cool," or "Yeah, I'm having that problem too," but I've never gotten back anything from actual the actual Stormwork developers. I've never had anything come back, except I think one time they said something like, "This is not an issue. This is or this is not a bug. This is a known feature," or something like that. And I was like, "What?" So anyway, today what we're going to be doing, now that we're 18 minutes in, these Stormwork videos, they're all going to be long. I have no, yeah. Anyway, now that we're in, and now that we're going here, what we're doing on today's episode is we are going to create a compact, or at least as compact as we can get, electrolyzer system. And the electrolyzer system is the system that makes hydrogen and oxygen from water, from fresh water. So last episode we made our compact distillation system, which is this guy. Today we are going to make a compact oxygen system. So the first place I want to start is actually with the, is it a that for moving drill rods into place? What? I don't remember seeing a clamp for moving drill rods into place. Hell, I don't think I've ever seen that before. That doesn't look like a clamp for moving drill rods into place. That looks like a warhead. Oh, oil drag clamp end. Clamp end. Hold on a second. I just want to see something here. So clamp, and then a clamp end. This goes like on top? How does that work? It doesn't even go on. What the hell are you... What? I don't know. Anyway. Uh, so we need our electrolyzer, I think it's called, or is it? No, it's got a different name. Hydrogen. Here it is. Hydrogen. Oh yeah, electrolyzer. I just spelled it wrong or something. I don't know. Anyways, so we need this, and this is already going to limit how compact our build can possibly be. It can't really be that compact because that's freaking huge already. So that's what we start with, our electrolyzer. We are going to need a tank built around the electrolyzer. I would assume the smaller the better. I would assume. And I don't exactly know how this works, how this electrolyzer works. So I don't know if it needs, I don't know if it needs space. I don't exactly know, where the water gets pulled in. If the water gets pulled in, maybe it just gets pulled in from the posts. I don't know. I don't know how it works. So this is going to be kind of a test bed to find out exactly how this thing works. So we're starting off with a tank. And I kind of want space around the electrodes, so I think what I'm going to do is probably knock out. I'm probably going to knock out this wall here, and this wall here, and move them out of block. Just to start, move them out of block, because I kind of want space around the posts. So like that. So we now have our electrolyzer inside a tank. There's our hydrogen and oxygen out on the top. So we are already, we're done stage one, basically. Now, I want tanks. I want gas tanks because I want to be able to store the gas that comes out. So on this side, we'll put some oxygen tanks. And on the other side, we'll put some hydrogen tanks. Whoops. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. 5, 6. Okay, so we'll put 3 tanks on each side, or 6 tanks on each side, I should say. I shouldn't. I swear, English is my first language. I swear. I swear it. Okay. So we have oxygen out, we have hydrogen out. Now, I'm going to want to pressurize these. So we're going to put pumps. And you know what? I should probably, hold on. I'm going to color code these. So hydrogen is going to be pink. Oxygen is going to be gray. Okay. And then I'll do the same I'll do the same for the tanks. So pink. Hydrogen tanks are pink. Oxygen tanks are gray. Okay. Now, like I said, we need a pump. So we will get our impeller pump, which I think will work for. I think it'll work for gases. I'm pretty sure it'll work for gases. Is this the out? No, that's the in. Dang. So the out is like that. Whoops. Out, out. Okay. So now we're probably going to need, I would say we'd probably need some kind of pressure tester here. We're going to need a pressure monitor. Um, so we will have to, like that, put our pressure gauges. Pressure side, I'm not going to have room for it. Not going to have room. I'm not going to have room for both of them. Uh, well, that is rude. I'll have to put that there, and I'll have to put this here. Like that. Which is still fine. Now, how did I get that there? That was supposed to be straight pipe. Come on. Straight pipe. And then a T-pipe. And then in. Okay. My brain almost went, oh shit, there's no room for a pump. But I was like, you already put pumps on it. You already put pumps on it, you silly. Okay. So we'll set that up like that. And we will set the same thing up on the side. Okay. This will be one of these guys. There. This one over here. And the same here. Here. Okay, and then we come down. Down. And into a pressure release valve. Well, actually, we should have a directional out, and then a valve. That's a hand valve. Nice. Okay. And then, of course, we'll have a fluid port on the end or something. That works. Fluid exhaust. Okay. So you have our oxygen, we have our hydrogen. We have our electrolyzer inside. All we need now, really, is water input. So, let's raise 3 things here. Place these with 3 here, there, and there. These are going to be our water lines, so they're going to be blue. And they're going to be T's. T and a T and a T. Okay, and oh, we're going to need an air vent on this tank. Crap, okay. I have to add that. A pump. Oops. Pump in the water from a fluid port, which will be on the top here. The anchor. Which I don't see. There it is. Okay, so there's our fluid anchor. So we get the water, we pump it in, and then we electrolyze it and create hydrogen and oxygen. Actually, what I should be doing, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the bottom one. We'll turn this to an input. First, it's facing the wrong way. And then we'll put a battery down here. We will put our battery here. Because we're going to need a battery, right? Right. Okay. Do I even need a water pump? I don't think I need a water pump. I don't think I need any of that. I don't think I need any of this. No, 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 and no. And I don't need this and this. Because whatever system I'm using is going to be pumping the water. So all I really need is the fluid anchor on the top here. The fluid hose anchor, which I will mark with blue, light blue, to show that it's fresh water. And on the bottom here, all I need is the fluid port. And it's like that, and that will that'll fill her up. Or I could really do that anywhere. I could do the fluid port on the back, or on the front, or on the whatever. So now, I kind of want to put the controls here, in this gap here, because that'll maintain the compactness. Kind of, whoops. That back there. Let's put our fluid input up top here. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's put it right here. So I can squeeze it in here, and it won't affect anything. I can dump it like that. Anchor. Fluid hose anchor. I can hook it up right here, and it won't bother a damn thing. So we want a liquid valve only. Only allow liquid in. And on the front here, we're going to put our water. Okay. And we got our battery down here, which I'm going to change that. I'm going to put in a little bit of a floor sort of thing here. And we'll put our battery on top of that. Just slide her in. There we go. Okay, so logically, we're going to have the battery hooked up to the electrolyzer. And we need a console. So we got the water, which is going to be pumped in from a source, wherever that source may be. We have the water that'll be pumped into the tank. I want to have a gauge, so we'll do a fluid, or a liquid meter, I should say, liquid meter. So we'll put a liquid meter on the inside here. Like so. It'll tell me how much is in there. And then our pressure readings. We'll have two pressure readings. We'll have a pressure reading on the oxygen side. We'll have a pressure reading on the other side. We'll have a switch. You know what? We can use the same controller that we used for, I think, maybe with slight modifications. We can use the same controller we used for the desalination plant. So, because we're going to have two pressure readings, we'll have two gauges, and we'll have an on-off switch. So if I put that in there, and then I get my display, okay, because it doesn't care where the reading's from. All it does is sends it to the box. So I can put this here, make the exact same console that I had over there. So instrument 1 will go, that's going to be a dial, oxygen pressure, oxygen tank pressure, oxygen storage pressure, and we'll just go oxygen pressure. Actually, what are the readings from these tanks? There's two readings. There's a tank pressure and a tank content? The amount of fluid in liters. I wonder if I should I do the content or should I read the pressure? It is oxygen. Probably the content. I think maybe the content. Okay. Oxygen, so we'll go oxygen storage. We'll start that at, we'll go 0 to 1 because I don't know what it's supposed to be. And that'll be 1. Okay. Instrument 2 is going to be our flip switch. That's going to be on signal 1. Okay. I don't think that's how you spell it. Electrolyzer? Electrolyzer? O2. Yeah. Oxyhydrogen on off. We'll use that as a flip switch. Okay. Then we have our flip switch is on signal 1. We have our second instrument here is going to be the hydrogen storage. Okay, that's going to be a dial as well. It's going to be 0 to 1. And instrument 4 is going to be a light, the indicator light on channel 2. Okay. System active. Okay. I should probably put like electrolyzer active or something like that. Electrol, TROL, YSER. Oh, well, you know what? I'll just put electrodes. Electrodes on off. Electrodes on off. Electrode status. Electrode status, I guess. Okay, so now I need some adders here. I'm gonna need 6 adders. I need 6-way adders. These are not gonna be small. Shit, where am I gonna put these? Are these averages or is this an adder? That is an adder. Okay. 6-digit adder. Look how big the 6-digit adder is. God dang. Well, I guess I'll plop one there. I'll plop another over here. So I wanted the contents, right? I'm pretty sure I wanted the contents, not the pressure. So the tank contents, which is the bottom number. Okay. That goes to, that's oxygen. So oxygen was number 1, right? Pretty sure oxygen was number 1. Pump flow rate. Okay. So oxygen was number 1, which would be akin to pump flow rate. Alright, so this one, we need tank content. Content. And content. That reads back to the second gauge, which was line pressure. Okay. And then our on toggle. And our composite, we need our composites. Composites to there. Okay. Electric. Okay. Alright, so that is really about as compact as it's gonna get. Unless, well, no, it can't get more compact, but I could move these controllers, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the back of a controller is solid, I think. That wouldn't work anyways, because I'd have to, yeah, that wouldn't work anyways. I could move them to the back though, so they're both side by side back here. Oh, you know, there's my desalination plant. I was looking at it before I started this episode. Okay. So if I take this guy, and I put him on the back here, place that guy there. Okay, clear. And take this guy. I put him on the back. Paste him. Merge those two. There. So it only that way it only grows 1. It only grows 1. It doesn't grow 2. It doesn't grow 1 on either side. It just grows 1 out the back. Okay. Still pretty compact, I would think, for a for an oxygen generator. All right. So we have our. You know, I probably should have brought in the desalination plant so I could test this thing, because I got no water hookup. And my test bed isn't here. My test bed tank isn't here, so I'm gonna have to make one gonna have to make one. I gotta make a test bed. In order to do that, I'm gonna have to need a robotic pivot because that'll create another object. I'll put that out here. And I can delete that. Move this out. Alright. This will be where I get the water from. Ah, crap, I'm gonna need my glitch generator too, because I'm gonna need power to test this sumbitch out. It's not meant to run off the battery alone. It's not. It's not. It's meant to. It's meant to have power. So that's going to be that yellow. Okay. We'll logic that sucker in, like so. Okay. All right. Let's get some water tanks. Get some fresh water tanks on here. So we can test this puppy out. Okay. It takes almost as long to build the test bed as it does to build the damn machine in the first place. I click that. Okay, so we got water tanks. Damn it. I don't know if it actually matters or not, but I like having the hole. I like following gravity, so I put the hole at the bottom. And I noticed just as I was doing that there that the holes were at the top. Oops. That. Give me the T. T, and T. There. Put a pump on it. So, with a fluid port on the end. Anchor. Anchor. God. Alright, so there's the fluid hose anchor. And we'll just connect those up right now. What am I doing? We'll connect those up right now. And we'll put a toggle button. Actually, we just put an always on. Constant. Constant on signal to run the pump. I don't care. Doesn't matter. We need water. Okay. Electrical. We'll go with. We'll load in our glitch generator. Load glitchy boy. Alright, glitchy boy. Here. Glitchy boy likes to take off on us, so hopefully the weight of the water keeps him from doing that. Paste. Merge that with that. Okay, and on the back here. Relief valve and a vent. How's that? Mounted end effector? Mounted end effector. The end effector can interact with button components. The hell is that? hell is an end effector? What are you? Is it like a toggle button or something? Like you push down on it and then, or if you bump into something? Oh no, it's a enable end effector. No idea. I'll have to look into an end effector later. All right, so we got everything connected. We have our power. Okay, our power's hooked up. Where's our? No, our power's not hooked up. Where is our electric anchor? Needle anchor. Sure, whatever. Paint that yellow. Okay, and I need a line from it. That to that. Okay. And go into our electrics. Oh, battery. Big old battery. Okay. Logic. Electrics. Generator there. 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 Okay. So that's all. This is all hooked up. This is all hooked up. And they are kept separate. They are isolated. Okay. So we have water. We have electricity. And we have control system. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. Now let's give it a shot. So those are pumping. Oh, I have no dial for the tank. I have no dial for the tank, so let's put a dial in for that. Okay. Do that to make her snazzy on the front. That'll be the water tank fill level. Water fill level 0. Okay, and logic, I have to hook up the capacity. Where's the capacity? Fluid capacity. There first. Backlight, yeah, we can power that off of that. Electric comes up to here. Doo-da. There we go. Okay, let's spawn this in to see what our capacity is. Kaboom. Everything just crashes to the ground. What's our capacity? 1171. So let's say 1170. Let's say 1170. Here, water 0, 1170. Okay. I have to change it. So it comes from the liquid level, not the capacity. Excuse me. We need motors and gearboxes for up top here. Do I want to run them this way or do I want to run? Maybe I'll run them this way. In front. Oops. Okay, so that is 3 to 1. Wait, 3 to 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I got it right this time. 3 to 1. Logic. Power. Run the battery. Run from the battery? Yeah. Motors, gearboxes. Okay, and the on switch. Turns on the gearboxes. Okay. And the power for those. That should come from a. We don't want to overpressure it, so. I want that one. I want that one. Did I not just make something for this? There it is. Okay, logic. So we take our tank fill level, which is what all these adders are doing. Put that in there. Same with here, take our tank fill level, put that in there. Main system on, there and there. Pump drive units, there and there. Okay. So that way, when it's full, she shuts down. Stops pumping fluid into the tanks. Alright. Now, I don't know what our pressure things here were for. I did want to read the tank pressure, but read the line pressure. Okay. I think that's okay. I think this is all hooked up. That's all hooked up, and that's all hooked up. But I don't have my numbers. I need my numbers. I don't have the capacity numbers. So let us spawn in. See if we have the capacity numbers on our display. So we have 549.25 and 549.25. Okay. We'll say 549 and 549. 549 0 and 549. Okay. So those are all set up now. 549 and 549. Down here we have our instruments we have to set as oxygen storage, max value 549 and 3. Max value 549, which makes sense because they have the same tank size. Okay. On this side we have oxygen, and they're currently all set to full. On this side, hydrogen. There we go. Alright, let's try this again. Spawn it. Make sure our gauges are reading what they're supposed to read. $549.25, $549.25. Okay, and the water fill level, look at that water fill level going up. Jesus. So if I open the hydrogen, that is just blasting out. Look at that. You don't see it though, but it's definitely blasting out. Okay, why is it... Why are they reading the same? Okay, that's not right. They're reading the same. They're reading the same. Why are they reading the same? That's not right. That's sending to the one. That's sending to the other. They're adding up from the different tanks on different sides. Are they able to somehow connect? That wouldn't make sense. Why would they do that? What's my fill number? My fill number is 549. Okay. Erase this. Erase this. 549. Oops. 549 and 549. Okay. So then we'll logic these together. We'll logic these up, I should say. That goes to the motor. Motor. Power on. And this side reading. This side reading. Okay. Oh shit, I know what I did. Instrument 1 reads channel 1 from oxygen storage. Instrument 3 reads channel 2. Instrument 2 is line 1. Instrument 4 should be line 2. Okay, that's fine. I had the gauges read the same line. That's why they were screwed up. Okay, now the gauges should be reading them properly. There we go. Oh, just dumped it. Okay, and the water fill level's going up. Let's turn on the system. Not seeing any change here. Not seeing any change there either. Oh shit. Fuck. Well, we're trying to blow ourselves up. Because I'm shoving diesel in there. I'm passing an electrode through diesel. I mean, which in and amongst itself actually would be safe. It would be safe. Diesel is not that explosive. But still, I mean, diesel fuel goes by compression more than, explosion. But, or I should say compression more than fire. But still, okay. 386. Okay, now we got water going in here. Let's turn this on. See what happens here. Okay, so all right. Our oxygen's going up, our hydrogen's going up, and our water fill level is just tanking. Just tanking. But that's okay. It's working. The system's working. Even though the water's tanking, or the fluid level's tanking, it is going up. Okay. So our fresh water, which is I-2019. So you can see gravity does have a little bit of an effect on it. 514. The top one is the lowest. 512, 514, 515, and 515. And we are out of water. Just like that. But it will still process. Even if the tank is empty, it'll still process. So shut that down. I don't know why our levels dropped. Maybe because they were pressurized. I bet that's because it's pressurized. We're pressurizing it so it adjusts accordingly. Anyway, we have our compact oxygen hydrogen generator. So yay, that was the goal. Okay. I wish I could filter out like oxygen and stuff from empty tanks. So if I take this and I go 0, I don't know what's in this tank if it's 0. If I slide these to 0, set them to oxygen and slide them to 0, I kind of wonder what's in these tanks. If they're a complete vacuum, like they should be, then everything would be all right. If they are not a complete vacuum, then there'd be an issue. So it's kind of hard to determine. You know, did I put a vent on the main system itself? Did I put a vent on it? I don't think I did. On the main tank. I did not. Crapola. These pressure sensors aren't doing anything, so I'm going to take them out. They're just kind of there. I'm going to take them out because they're not used. And that will let me put in a vent for air to go in and out. So we can vent our tank, so we're not you know, we're not creating vacuum. So there we go. We have our tanks. We have our oxygen tanks, our hydrogen tanks. We have a vent for the water tank, and we have a water tank. So there's our electrolyzer right there. That is that's a donezo. That's a done deal. The only thing left to do is add a little touch of blue paint to our gauge. Shazam! And I didn't color these guys, did I? Go back to our additive. Paint you green. And paint these gauges. Great. Pink. Actually, I think it would probably be nicer to have a different color for the oxygen tanks. I don't know what color to use though. Maybe this green. I don't know. Maybe we'll use that green. It's kind of a soft green. You usually see me using it on consoles because it's a nice soft green for like well, like I said, consoles, wall mounted units. It's the old color that you see in like nuclear uh, factories or not nuclear factories, but factories and warehouses and like the reactor rooms, and you see these kind of Wait a minute, how'd you get a pink handle? Is that an additive? No. How'd you get a pink handle? You prick. Let's try that again, shall we? So, man, oh, okay, that changes the color of the handle there. So we'll put that there, and then if we paint it gray, what happens? Oh, it's on additive. Aha! The little handle stays the color. Awesome. Schnazzy, as they would say. Okay, so um, we have our electrolytic plant. It functions. It is good. It is great. It is getting saved, and this is going to be the shortest video I've done in a while on on Stormworks, just because of that fact. Um, these I would like to move the other way again. So 549. Shit. Five, 4, 9, and 5, 4, 9. Okay. I forgot to put the other plant on. I was supposed to put that on. Um, I was supposed to put that on the workshop, but I forgot. The desalination plant. I was supposed to put that on, or the the scrubber, the fresh water to clear or salt water to fresh water scrubber. I was supposed to put that on the workshop, and I forgot. So I will probably do that as soon as I finish here. I'll put them both on the workshop at the same time. So anyway, there we go. That's Dunzo, Dunzo. Like to paint drive units orange. I didn't really paint the last the last system, but this one I figured needed some splashes of color. So there we go. Color, color, color. Fluid nozzle. Why not? Although, is there a gas? There's no gas nozzle or gas end, is there? Um. Hmm. There's anchors. There's nozzles. There's exhausts. There is the fluid port end. How come you're okay? Whatever. See, how come you're coming out a different color? You're not coming out your custom color. Do that. Done and done. Okay, so that is our that is the compact. That is the compact. I guess electrolyzer. Call it electrolyzer unit. It is actually, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I thought it was going to be much, much bigger. And the reason I thought it was going to be much, much bigger is because I figured I'd need a bigger water tank. Apparently I don't. So, huzzah. And I also thought of using two of the electrolyzers. But then I realized that if I use two of the electrolyzers, the water is just going to go faster, and I'm going to get the same amount of air. It's not going to improve anything unless I The only way it's going to improve is if I had like a whole, like a massive bank of them. Then it would improve it, but that's not what's happening here. So I mean, even if I were to remove this and put another electrolyzer behind it, which I could, because there's nothing there, it's just empty tank. So I mean, I could put another electrolyzer right behind it, or I could move this electrolyzer forward. Well, I can't do that because I have the vent there, but I could. I just have to move the vent. But I don't think that would be any improvement. I really don't. If I did that. So hold on a sec. now I'm in it. Now I'm in it. Okay, let's erase this. We'll take our electrolyzer. Okay, we will put one on the front, which I don't think we can. Oh, we can. Okay. Is that the right direction though? That is oxygen out? Yeah, okay. And then we'll put another one back here. We'll put a vent between them. That'll be our air vent. As far as I know, all this is going to do is process the water twice as fast. But it's not actually going to give me more gas. It's just going to process it twice as fast. So, is it a benefit? Nah. Will it get the job done faster? Yeah. Am I going to run out of water? Yeah. I'm still going to run out of water. And I'm going to run out of water faster. So, it's kind of like a... I'm not going to say it's a lose-lose, but it's definitely not a win-win. it's definitely not a win-win. So I'll put the gas valve on here, and then I'll put the end on here. The end cap. Throw that on the end here. There we go. So we have the two electrolyzers now, which we're going to hook to the on switch. That's all we really have to do. We don't have to do anything else. The volume of our tank has changed now, though, so we have to check that again. So let's spawn in. Let's see what our tank... Let's see what the size of our tank is now. It would have shrunk because we put the extra other electrolyzer in there. So we're looking at a 1171, which, what was it before? Didn't shrink that much. Actually, it didn't shrink at all. That's weird. I should have shrunk it. Unless those electrodes aren't considered objects or something. Because that's very weird. That it would have that kind of a result. Maybe they're not considered objects. I don't know. But anyway, so we'll do a quick test, make sure everything works before I export it and save it. So we got our water tanks. We're filling up our water. Okay. Our oxygen storage and hydrogen storage is at 0 because that's the way we like it. Alright. What is in this tank? Nothing? Absolutely nothing. It's complete vacuum. Okay, that's what we want. We don't want anything in these things. 0 and 0. Alright, so we turn this on. And it does not appear like it's doing anything. Doesn't appear to be doing anything at all. What is going on here? Oops. Fresh water. It is fresh water. The fill level is going up. We got nothing going into the tanks. So what has happened? suddenly the electrolyzer is not working anymore. I'm wondering if it's because there's no air gap in front and behind it. It doesn't have an air gap anymore. So I'm wondering if that's the reason. Wondering. Because I don't know for sure, but I want to say it probably needs space behind it. Like it probably needs water surrounding the probes, and it does not have that now. So the attempted change backfired, and I'll have to change it back. But that'll be fairly simple because I can just do this. Where are the pipes? And we will put our vent back over here with that and that, and let's cross. Whoop. We'll fill it. Just go across the top, and then we will put our electrode. Ah, oh, wait a minute. Wait. Undo. How many of you are yelling at the screen right now going, don't take it apart? You know what I forgot to do? Hook up the power. And they are not showing me that they don't have power. Fuckers. Alright, let's try this again. They were not showing me that they were not connected to power. There was no error message whatsoever. Okay, so we got 0, 0. Turn this on and see what happens. Alright, now we're getting oxygen, hydrogen, and we got the water fill level going down. Okay. Perfect, she works. I don't know that it works as fast as, or faster than it did. Maybe? Hard to tell. That glitch drive unit is just, it is insane. Likes to walk across the floor. Alright, so when you run out of water, it still processes, but you gotta shut it down. But anyways, that is, yeah. We finished our project. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the whole thing, which I think I have done. No? Yeah, we're good. Good, so I got the whole thing selected. I'm going to copy, save, save, and compact oxygen hydrogen generator? No. Compact oxygen hydrogen producer. I guess plant. Compact oxygen hydrogen plant. That's what it is. It's a plant for creating oxygen and hydrogen. Okay. So now I go over here and I go load. It'll be here looking awfully shitty. Okay. Clear that content, shut that off. And I think I just resave it. I think. I just resave it, and then the picture will be right. Nope, picture's backwards. So I have to rotate it 90 degrees. I gotta point it towards the arrow. Okay, gotcha. Gotta point it towards the arrow. Do a move cut. Rotato. Towards the arrow. We're down on the ground so she doesn't frickin' fly. Just spawn it in. There we go. Paste. Huzzah. Save. And save. Alright. Then when I go to load, there it is. Beautiful. Alright. So I'm going to put both of those on the workshop once I'm done this this video. So you'll be able to see them. Okie dokie, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. This is Jodian. I'm signing off. See you next time. Where we will be working on the sea base. Take care. Bye bye now.